Let's call the meeting to order and stand with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United
States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have minutes to approve. Does anybody have any comments on the minutes, or would they like to make a motion?
I move to approve.
Any comments? Second? All in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay, great. Move on to disclosure of conflicts of interest. Does anybody have any conflicts? Nope. Okay, great. We have a public comment section. If anyone would like to speak, you have 3 minutes. Anyone interested in speaking? I don't think we have any. Okay. Moving on to presentations then. Capital Projects Review.
Good afternoon. Susan Corres, Office of Community Development. We'll go through our active projects. I'll point out a few things. We have some good news today. And if you have any questions on anything else, feel free to ask. Golden Gate, El Camino. I'm so happy that Sadia is now in the house because she needed to hear this. Notice to proceed, Sadia. March 26th, March 26th. When is that? Wednesday.
Traffic, I was stuck over there.
Now, we're only doing good news here. So that's been issued to the contractor, which is BDI Marine Inc., so things will start Wednesday.
Yay!
I know,
Guys want to have a drink?
that was good news. That was good news. Hope Sound, Dixie Highway Stormwater and Streetscape, we are going to be preparing that RFP to go out, and that's going to be for the engineer design for the project. Well, during that time, we'll also start looking at our CMAR and, start getting ready to put that out as well after this one. So that's moving forward. Park Drive, for all my Port Salerno people, Park Drive improvements and that entire peninsula project will start this month as well. So I'm not exactly sure where they're starting. Joy, do you know where they're going to start? No, I do not. Okay. We don't know yet where exactly they're going to start, but folks will begin to see something happening out there. I don't know if anyone's been down there and has seen the mooring field facility. It really looks nice, fits in nicely with the neighborhood, and we're pleased with the changes that were made so that the construction came out really nice. New Monrovia projects are all in some percentage of design, which is nice. Everything is moving forward. That would be the park improvements, the neighborhood improvements, and the unpaved roadway project. And that's all I'm going to point out for now. If anyone has any other questions, I'm happy to try to answer them.
Susan?
Yes.
Just for, I know the sewer project's not in here because it's not one of ours. Of course, we're still pending, the response. I just wanted that on the record for the grant.
Still pending.
So, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else have any other comments they'd like to ask Susan? Okay. We'll move on to new business, the CRA Capital Improvement Plan recommendations.
Again, Susan Corres, Office of Community Development. I have a special guest with us today, Stephanie Murley, Director of the Office of Management and Budget. She is going to give a little presentation today. I know I have Shelby in the item, but Shelby was unable to be here, so we get Steph, yay. Anyway, she's going to give a small presentation, and then we'll go through the CIPs that most of you have already seen in your Neighborhood Advisory Committee meetings.
Good afternoon. I'm Stephanie Murley, Director of OMB, here to give you this presentation. I've given a few of you a few times, but for the newbies, hopefully you learned something. If you have any questions, just stop me. So as we're going into our budget season, the very first step of our budget is the capital improvement plan. So what is that? The capital improvement plan is both a planning and budgeting document. It's a 10-year outlook onto what our projects are hoping to be. It has two parts. It has our capital budget, which is represented in the first year of the capital program, and then the remaining years are the upcoming projects out in the out years. So we plan for capital expenditures such as projects and equipment, and they extend typically over 5 to 10 years beyond. Sorry. So what do you typically see in the capital improvement plan? It's the identification of capital projects, equipment maintenance, and replacement expenditures. We have in our capital improvement plan a lot of things called fixed asset replacement budgets, which is really just planning for the replacement of the assets that the county has. You will not see something like that because the CRA does not have any real maintenance, and you're not really allowed to pay for maintenance, so you are constructing projects. Capital budget planning, development, and execution is really just planning for what our revenues are looking at and what we're going to need to do in the future, and then asset management. So what does the capital improvement plan do? It ensures the planned maintenance of infrastructure and capital equipment for the county. It also maintains our level of service, which is consistent with the comprehensive plan. We identify sources of revenue and optimizes funding for capital improvements. For your purposes, I tell Susan exactly what I think she will generate this year in the tax increment financing, the TIF. That's her pot of money. She doesn't get to ask for more. And we do that based on a really conservative estimate based on what our values are going to be for each of those Golden Gate CRAs and based upon the millage rate that the Board of County Commissioners adopts. The CIP also provides an opportunity for public participation, and CRA is a really great example of that through your NACs, and then this board, and then ultimately it'll go to the Board of County Commissioners. The CIP aligns our desired improvements with the resources, so hopefully if you create capital improvement plan projects, you may also seek out contributions or other grant funding for those projects as offsets. It also creates a stable tax environment, so no surprises with the capital improvement plan. We know what's coming. We know what we have to plan for. So the CIP is a living, working document, which is meant to be reviewed and updated at least annually to ensure that it meets the county's needs, priorities, and funding opportunities. We are consistently amending our CIP based on updated bid awards, actual revenues that come in. So it's constantly being looked at for updates or modifications if necessary. So CIP 101, how it usually goes is the department directors identify and prioritize their projects, which is really just keeping our current assets up to date, roads, bridges, buildings. It also is looking at all of our assets, as I mentioned, and it documents the estimate of need for the future. So then budget we identify funding sources. As I mentioned, that would only be TIF for the CRA, but we are also looking at a larger scope through taxes, grants, reserves, and other partnerships. And then this CIP that you will be approving today, or hopefully approving, will then be presented to the Board of County Commissioners. That CIP workshop is April 22nd. And we're just reiterating all of the stuff I just told you, what it's looking like, what the county has to do over the next 10 years. So CIP and the CRA, you are a little bit more narrow scope. You have a master plan that dictates what you are allowed to spend your capital projects on. And each of your NACs really prioritize and identify those projects instead of the department directors. You are the experts, right? Then it's presented to the CRA for approval, which is today, and then approved by the BOCC. And when it goes to the BOCC, it'll be tentatively approved at that workshop to be again heard in July, with the actual budget workshop, and then 2 more times with the public hearings in September after your trim notices are sent out. So with that, that's all I really have for my presentation for the CIP and the CRA. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer it.
I don't think so.
No? Great.
No questions.
No questions? See,
Thank
Mike?
you.
Okay, we're going to keep her here just in case. But what I'm going to do is go through each one with you. Again, for some of you, you'll have seen some of these, and then the others will be new to you. So we'll start with Jensen. And just so that everybody knows, we're all on the same page, you know what you're looking at, your CIP FY 2025, that's where we are right now. So those are the projects that we're working on right now, and those are your funds. Now, keep in mind that this is a snapshot in time. So those funds could be less than what you're seeing here because they are plugged into ongoing projects. Other revenue, if there is any, in Jensen Beach, they have Spark program that did have some revenue a few years back, so you see that. And then what we are receiving in 2026.
Which is, if I may add, Susan, it's a very conservative estimate. I do believe I had anticipated for the CRAs about a 8% increase over the previous year. And that's just based on some really good valuation increases in each of the CRAs over the past few years. So it may come in less, it may come in more. I unfortunately cannot predict the future in all cases, so we try to keep it as conservative as possible, just in the event it does come in less.
So the estimate for us for 2026 for Jensen was $382,500, and staff recommended putting it in roadway and parking improvements. The NAC did agree with that. Those roadway and parking improvements, just so you'll understand, the projects would be things like Church Street, which is a roadway that goes east-west in Jensen, connecting Indian River Drive with Pineapple, and then possibly some parking improvements or crosswalk work on Jensen Beach Boulevard or Indian River Drive as well. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next, we'll go to Rio, again, 2025. That's where you see projects that we are working on or that have just been completed, for example, infill sewer. Then you see what our estimate is, 1.619 for Rio in 2026, and we're looking at 2 recommendations from staff, which was street improvements and town center redevelopment. As you might recall from our capital projects that we talk about each month, those are the 2 new projects in Rio that are under design right now. So we're looking to make sure that there's money to construct them. So that's why that recommendation is what it is, and the NAC did approve that. Questions on Rio? We're all good? All right.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What is the investment program?
That's, Teddy, would you like to answer that? No, teasing. Teddy is a recipient, actually. So our investment program is a grant program, and it's so that property owners and you have to be in a particular sub-district, can utilize funds from the CRA to do particular activities on their property. That could be landscaping, lighting, facade improvement, parking improvement. I think so far we've completed 10? 13. We've completed 13. And I pointed to Teddy because he is on the board of the strip mall in Golden Gate, right on Dixie Highway. We did the whole strip mall, which was a kind of a new thing for us. Usually it's one property at a time. So legal was really helpful. This was about a year and a half ago. They came up with how we could do this for a strip mall. So it was great. Yeah, worked out great.
Thank you.
Palm City, fiscal year 2025, you can see there's exactly 1 project, but that's okay. We have some repayment that we're doing in Palm City, and you can see those loans, that debt service. 2 more of them will be done at the end of '26, And then we have our map road we've had for quite a while, and that goes till '28. So our TIF that we are going to be working with is 693,000. This, of course, is dependent on the Palm City property. I actually have an update on that later in the meeting, and that's pending its sale. So we are looking at, again, a couple of new projects. Cornell Ave Streetscape, that is a new project that is in design right now for Palm City, and then adding a little bit of money to neighborhood enhancements and actually starting adding some funds for investment program, which Palm City has not had yet. They were the only CRA that hasn't had an investment program project. So they wanted to have that to offer their folks. Golden Gate, you can see FY 2025. Golden Gate pedestrian and bike trail, El Camino, of course, having by far the most in it because it's happening. Anyway, TIF for 2026 was 829,000. And I'd like to point out that this Golden Gate has really seen a huge percentage increase. And I think I'm pretty sure it's because of all the work that's been going on in Golden Gate. And I think that the trail, that El Camino is just going to increase that even more over the next 2 to 3 years. So for their projects, again, we're putting some money into El Camino, making sure that it's going to have everything it needs, and then kind of looked at what are some of our new programs. Improved street infrastructure is something that we're trying to do in Golden Gate, and it would be a very big project. It would include curb and gutter, sidewalks. That type of thing is extremely expensive. Our program manager in Golden Gate, Joy Puerta, is working on looking at federal grants for that, but we know that we may have to have match, or we may want to get it started before that happens. So we're putting some money into that, a little more money into that. Landscape and hardscape is something new. We talked about that, I think, at the last meeting. I brought that up as a new project for Golden Gate, a pilot project looking at how we can use landscape, hardscape, and some of the vacant areas in that CRA to kind of make it look a little nicer, have some additional pedestrian places, if you will, and to really bring out what the kind of theme of that CRA, if you will. So having it kind of match the residents. And everybody was good with that. They put a little more money in the investment program as well, because Golden Gate has had quite a few very successful projects. Port Salerno. So we have our infrastructure partnerships, which would be our sewer money, and our money for Park Drive. And I say that because when we get down to the 2026, I'll explain why I'm saying that. Unpaved roads, you'll see in 2025, does not have any funding, but we've taken care of that in 2026. So Port Salerno had a very nice TIF in 2026, it looks like 1.6 and change. And we are putting 600,000 into that infrastructure partnerships. And the NAC was good with that because we need the 4 million for sewer. So we wanted to make sure that there was money to pay for Park Drive improvements. So that's why you see that. Unpaved roads, we've added money to because, again, there is a project going on that's in design. New Monrovia neighborhood is in design. Again, park improvements in design. And something new, Dixie Park neighborhood. It was a partnership that we may be doing with Public Works. It was something that kind of just came up, and it's one of those things, it's why it's nice that we can be a little bit flexible with our funding, in that when those things happen, we can be a part of it and have our money leveraged a little bit, which is a nice way to go. And I think I have one more.
So Susan, if you don't
Yes.
mind if I add to it, for the unpaved roads, it did become evident in our community that we wanted to really look into it. So we then decided to put some money in for unpaved roads for, 2026. So we were appreciative that you guys, saw that and implemented it.
Yeah, Joy's
So,
working on it.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure. And last but definitely not least, Hobe Sound. I think Hobe Sound is the big winner in 2026. You'll see with their beautiful 1.8. Wow. But in 2025, you'll see that there are the same projects that we've been looking at. TIF in 2026 is the 1.8. They do still have debt service. That will run until 2028. So that money comes out of our available monies for projects, and we're putting the money into unpaved roads, which is a commissioner priority, and also into the Dixie Stormwater and Streetscape. So there's a little more explanation that needs to happen on this particular sheet. In 2025, we're looking at stormwater solutions, roadway improvements, and Dixie Stormwater and Streetscape. Those three items. Those are going to be combined into one. They're all going to happen, they're all going to go into the Dixie Stormwater and Streetscape. That's a huge project. The other two line items are not specified. They were specified for that project. We left it this way just so if something else did come up, we would have the funding for it, but it doesn't look like that's the case. So we wanted the Dixie Stormwater and Streetscape project to be as strong as possible, especially with what's happening in Tallahassee. We will get to that later as well. So we're going to roll all of that money into that project. This way we look very strong. Because that's going to be a very expensive project. The NAC understood what we were trying to do, and they approved of that. So when you see this again, once we go to take CIP to the Board of County Commissioners, you will see that as one item. And I believe the total will be, for 2026, $6,463,000 for that one project. And that's all I have for you on CIP, and Steph and I are here to answer any questions you might have.
When you talk about Dixie Highway and Hope Sound, does that include all of it? I mean,
So it's Dixie Highway from Bridge Road south to Saturn Street, and it's including the Hobe Sound Train Station Plaza. So a lot of times we call it the train station project as well. So the train station is now in place, and some of that work has been done with Public Works as well and Commissioner Jenkins. So what we'll do is we'll take from Bridge all the way to Saturn. We will do stormwater, drainage, and then work on that Post Office Alley and Dixie, so both streets all the way down, and do landscaping, new sidewalk, that new parking, and all of the connected streets as well. So it's a huge project. It's probably the biggest one we've tackled so far.
you will do it.
Yeah, so the sidewalk, all of the businesses that are there now will have additional sidewalk. People can actually walk in front of them, next to somebody else, which you kind of can't do now. And it will get rid of all of the flooding in the parking areas as well.
Any other questions for Susan?
No, but before we vote, does having Habitat on there create a conflict of interest for me?
I don't think so. Legal? No.
Okay.
But thank you for asking.
Susan needs a motion to approve
I will need a motion.
this.
So move.
So the motion is that you would recommend approval to the Board of County Commissioners.
I recommend the approval to the county commissioner.
Second.
Any discussions?
I just want to say I appreciate the flexibility in it because we're able to,
Works well.
extend certain places.
It does. It works, really works nicely. Yep.
Great.
Or do we go after Stephanie?
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thanks, Steph.
Thank you. Next item is CRA alternative compliance.
Another special guest. We're so lucky today.
Really? Where's the money?
I'll introduce Elise Elder. She's our deputy county attorney. And Elise and I have been working on this item with Frank Morley as well as staff, our staff, CRA staff, and growth management staff. So this is alternative compliance. I know that all of you know what alternative compliance is. It's the same thing as you would call a waiver or a variance in the other parts of the county. In the CRA, it's called alternative compliance. And people ask for alternative compliance when they feel they can't meet the code, and they come up with other ways of doing their projects that requires administration to say yes or no. So that was a really simple explanation of alternative compliance. How it's worked in the past, when I first started, alternative compliance is an application process. There's a fee attached to it. Whoever, a property owner or builder, would go to growth management, fill out the application, pay their fee, and then staff would go out, look at the property, do some research, talk with other staff, and figure out if they wanted to support that application for alternative compliance or not, based on the criteria that were available. Then generally that application would go to the Neighborhood Advisory Committee, where they would recommend approval or not, and then it would be on its way. That turned out to be a little bit problematic because neighbors were voting on their neighbors, and that was a little bit difficult. The other difficulty with that is that NAC members tend to change a little more often, so that we were constantly getting people that didn't understand the code, they didn't understand what they were being asked to do, et cetera. So when we did the code change in 2021, that became an administrative process, and it would go to the growth management director. Occasionally, some of them would come to the NAC if they were particularly problematic, or, we needed a little more information from the community, they would come to the NAC. But for the most part, it was done administratively. Elise then came to us and said, well, we're not following Florida statutes. Would you like to explain that part? I'm going to let her do that.
So you have a code for a reason, and it's to give homeowners and property owners notice of what they can build in a particular site, but it also gives neighbors the opportunity to know what's going to be built in their neighborhood. So when people are asking for alternative compliance, it's basically a deviation from a code provision. And that process went to the growth management director, and it eliminated the public hearing for neighbors to voice their concern over alternative compliance, or even really know about the request for alternative compliance. So we wanted to change it to make it more compliant and more in line with what we do for variances, and have a public hearing process, or, where neighbors can see an agenda, see it's on the agenda, and come and speak if they want to, for or against it, and just so they had notice. So that was kind of the genesis for the change. Because it doesn't coexist with our other variance procedure if you're outside the CRA. So for example, if I'm in the CRA and I want to get alternative compliance for setbacks, that process goes through the growth management director. If I was outside the CRA, I would follow our ordinance, I would have to meet certain criteria, and I would have a public hearing in front of the Board of Zoning and Adjustment. So there was a big discrepancy about how we handled it. So we wanted to make it more compatible.
So in the packet, I had included the ordinance that we're proposing. So the process for us will be CRA board, and then we'll go to the LPA and to the Board of County Commissioners. So one of the bigger changes is that instead of going to the growth management director, we're going to have the public process, which we need to have at a noticed meeting where, again, like Elise said, the public can come, learn about it, and have a say if they choose to. So we're proposing that any alternative compliance request would come to the CRA board.
For minor developments. Major developments would be heard by the Board of County Commissioners.
Yeah, so something like Rio Marine Village, that isn't going to come to you. That would go to the Board of County Commissioners, those big, major projects. The things that will come to you are more residential, probably, and small commercial, those types of things. There is still going to be some stuff that goes to the Growth Management Director. That would be the landscaping. That would still go to the Growth Management Director, which works out fine. And I think that there was, let me see. Yeah, so for us, for CRA Board, it's dimensional and it's architectural. That's what we'll be looking at. So I did look at the Board of Zoning Adjustment just to see how many applications they receive so that we'd have some idea. And that was a question that Cindy actually had asked me. She said, are we going to be spending every meeting doing this? I said, well, hopefully not. The criteria is a little stricter than it was in the application that we had. So I think that a property owner has to work a little bit harder to deviate from the code. And Board of Zoning Adjustment doesn't meet as often as you guys do. And I think that they had something like 15 applications in a year. So if we did have something like that, it might be once every meeting, one every meeting. That's what we're looking at. So this is what we're proposing to do. We think that the change would be a good one for other reasons than just the reasons that Elise mentioned. I think that the CRA Board has a better grasp. The members are here longer. We're going to probably do a little bit of training for you anyway, so that you'll be able to look at these things, in a good fashion. Growth management will still be doing their assessment, writing their staff report, and presenting that. So we will still have that department's assistance.
So you guys would be hearing them as a quasi judicial, kind of what you see the board does sometimes. So we would have a hearing, witnesses would be sworn, they would give testimony, and then you would decide based on the testimony if they meet the criteria and determine whether or not alternative compliance should be granted. So that'll be how the process works, and we will train you on that process if this is approved by the board prior to beginning that process.
I just wanted to show them the criteria.
Yeah.
So in number 4 in the ordinance, it talks a little bit about the criteria, and I didn't know if anybody had any questions on any of those things.
So we got this criteria from Florida law. This is basically the standard to get a variance. Under Florida law, a variance is a deviation from a code provision, which is basically what alternative compliance is. So we kind of mirrored, it's not as strict as our BOZA. It's a little bit less strict, I would say, but it has the same purpose and intent.
And you'll notice that you can't use alternative compliance for any deviation in height or increased density.
Right.
So those two things are off the table from the start, but you will see that there are the other criteria that does apply special conditions that might be peculiar to that land, that particular piece of property. That was one of the same criteria that we had before. The special condition was not caused by the applicant. I believe that's also the same as we had before. Special privilege, I don't know if anyone has any question on that. This is the best that they can do to make that property, to have reasonable use of the property, make it buildable. Pretty reasonable stuff.
I had a little quick question. There won't be any last-minute things. This will all be on the agenda. It has to be advertised, and we'll get a presentation with our agenda prior to the hearing, the meeting.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing a week ahead of time, so growth management would have to have their report to us the week before.
It would be attached to the agenda. We are not, in this ordinance, we're not doing any requirement for advertising because we were trying to keep it simple like it is now. Right now, there's no advertisement, but we thought putting it on the CRA agenda would give the public notice necessary, so we're not putting an advertisement, they don't have to send letters. If it's a big development, then there would be, depending on what they're doing, for the board meeting, there would be some advertisement, but generally speaking, the notice would come from the CRA agenda. But yes, you would get it a week in advance when your CRA agenda comes out.
Okay, good.
So,
Yes, ma'am?
so I know a lot of people can't always attend the meetings, for work purposes. So it is nice when they do offer it ahead of time. That way, if the community does need to give some input and they can't make it here, what do you suggest?
They can send an email to CRA or to your, I think you have county email addresses.
Yep.
They can send an email to you and give their public comment that way. That's what a lot of people do for our board meetings when they can't attend.
Because I know that's an issue for me. I can't always attend the BOCCs because I'm at work.
Right, so when the
So-
BOCC has a hearing and someone can't attend, they send public comment. We usually attach that as part of the agenda, so the board members have the opportunity to read it. So they can send in
Because I
public.
think it's nice to get that input from the community.
And generally also, Jamie, if we get it the day before the meeting, we'll read it into the record at the meeting.
Right,
So you'd all still get to hear it, even though you didn't see it before.
and provide a copy.
Yeah.
Anybody else? I think we need to, yes, I see Gary's got his hand up. I don't think we're having any public comment on this, are we?
Yeah.
We could.
Yeah.
You want to speak, Gary?
I'm just looking for what the motion was.
Oh, it's right here. Right here.
There we go.
Oh, okay.
Gary Earler, Port Salerno. The bottom of page 3, CRA alternative compliance, striking that is growth management director may request a recommendation from the NAC, which is exactly what they explained. The issue I have with that is that relies on the 7 of you, 6 of you, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 of you. My thing is it goes before the NACs at 6 PM. Our meeting's at 6 PM. We've done alternate compliances. I've been a part of them the last 18 months. Now, it goes to you. Your meetings are at 3 o'clock, ours are at 6. I mean, you want the public to be aware. It's one thing to be aware, and it's another thing to be able to show up. I'm fortunate enough that I can, adjust my schedule a little bit. Some of these people can't. A letter's a letter. Somebody showing up in front of you means a lot more to me than writing a letter. I can write 100 letters a day. So I ask that stays in there, and it goes before the NAC, as far as I'm concerned, and then it's just more opportunity for the public. Thank you.
Anybody have any comments on that?
Gary, just for clarification, you're asking that it still go to the NAC meetings? Is that's? I just want to make sure.
I speak from back here. No, I'm asking, the bottom of page 3, it's all stricken, I believe.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this thing here,
You
it's
got
on
it.
page 26, but I believe it's the bottom of page 3, and it says Growth Management Director. It used to say Growth Management Director may request a recommendation from the NAC. That is now out, and he's relying on you all.
So the growth management director is not going to make the decision. This board is. So the growth management director previously had the option of sending it to the NAC if he was unsure, if it was controversial. This board can do the same thing. If something comes before you and you don't feel comfortable, you can direct it to the NAC and it can come back to you. So
The other point I would make, Gary, is that people are going to have more opportunity to say something because the growth management director didn't send all those alternative compliances in the past year. So there's many more that get administratively decided that don't come to the NAC. This way, all of them will come to the CRA board, and everybody will have a chance whether it be in writing or whether they show up, to make a comment and to know about it.
I take your words, thank you.
I think one of the
What
other,
you saw, what you guys see now for alternative compliance is 1 out of every 5, if.
Know that.
Yeah.
I think you and I had some discussion about technical skill and with having some training for this board to be able to determine what's going on, I think is important, where the NAC did not have that training. Most of the people are citizens or residents, and there's a different level of knowledge. So I think that's an important part that, and I like the idea, if for some reason it comes to us and we're not happy or we're not feeling like this is a project that we can approve, to send it back to the NACs is a good way. I mean, it puts some more time on that applicant, but if that's the way it goes, that's the way it goes.
I like that as well.
Yeah.
The fact that you can send it back. So where would that be in here specified that we're able to do that?
So it's not in the ordinance, but the board in the decision-making process can send it to the NAC as just one of their recommendations. I don't recommend approval at this time. We recommend it go to the NAC, get their input, and come back to the board. So that would just be the motion made on the alternative compliance.
I would like to just make a quick comment on that. For the record, Jordan Pastorius, Assistant Manager of the Office of Community Development. In the past, from past experience, the people that are asking for these alternative compliance requests, whether it's a developer, a builder, whoever, homeowner, they're on a timeline. So having it go to the NAC and the CRA board and back and forth, that could be at least 3 months. And a lot of that is wasted time on their side for either closing on a home or closing on a loan, things like that. So it's just something to consider, as the more time wasted, the more frustrated the applicant gets and can sometimes lose out.
And by knowing that, they may follow the guidelines and not ask for the compliance.
Exactly.
We just had something like that. Joey, you remember? We just had one. Unfortunately, as a neighbor, now we're getting his revenge, a very cruel ones, because the NAC said no. And it went back to growth management, I think. Now we're paying for it, which is really horrible. Nothing we can handle, though. It's really hard when the neighbor get very angry because he wants to build something, and we said, clean up what you know what you know who's I'm talking about.
Yeah, so this new process would also put sort of a layer in between that,
Right.
hoping that would, allay some of that. Yeah.
Wow.
Any other comments?
No, I guess.
You need a motion to move forward with this, don't you?
Yes, please.
Would someone like to make a motion that this is acceptable?
I can read it to you,
Sure.
if you'd like. Move that the agency recommend approval of the proposed alternative compliance procedure and ordinance.
Somebody want to take that on?
Make a motion.
Rex, do we have a second?
Second.
Any conversations or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay,
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks,
you.
Elise.
thank you. Okay, our next item
We
is
are moving right along. Wow.
CRA Legislative Session 2025.
Yeah.
Okay. So in this new legislative session for 2025, there are 2 bills that affect the CRA. One is House Bill 991, and that's filed by Representative Gia Lombardo. He's a Republican from Cape Coral, and a companion bill, which is exactly the same, Senate Bill 1242, filed by Senator Stan McLean. And you can see the counties, Alachua, Levy, and Marion counties are the ones that he represents. I did have in the item the key provisions. I do have a little bit more information to share with you. So in looking at all of these, there it is. In looking at these bills, as I have been for the past couple of weeks, it sometimes is a little bit difficult to understand when you read the, the strike-through document. It's sometimes a little more difficult. So you can go to, if you went to Tallahassee's website that kind of has all of this information, this is one of the things that you can click on, and it's a really great resource, this bill analysis. So it pretty much gives you what the effects of the bill might be, and we can go through this. I will also show you how to find all of this information on your own, should you choose to do that. Right now, what I can tell you about it is HB 991 is slated to go through 3 committees. It's gone through 1 committee so far. That's the State Affairs Committee. It looks like it was passed through that committee with an amendment. One of the things that the bill talks about is that the CRA would be prohibited from initiating any new projects or issuing any new debt after October 1st, 2025. Well, that's pretty close. That's this year. So what they did when they said they did an amendment was really just a clarification. So it defines the new project as any project for which a CRA has not appropriated funds in its budget for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2025, which would be the end of our fiscal year right now. So it works that we talked about CIP first and then got to this, because what we're doing now is appropriating our funding for 2026. So that funding is going to be approved before September 30th, 2025. So the way we're looking at it is that we would be okay with the funding that you just approved through 2026. There are several CRAs that have debt right now, namely Hobe Sound and Palm City. Those 2 would have debt until 2028. So moving through the next section of this, they talk about that if you have outstanding bonds that don't mature until after our dissolution, which would be in 2040, 2041, 2042, like that, that you can remain in existence through 2045 until those bonds mature. It's a little bit, in my opinion, they say, well, you can still operate. I don't know what that means. If they're taking away your opportunity to allocate funding, it's a little bit hard to understand how you would continue.
We're allowed to dream.
Yeah. There has been no amendment on that yet, so I've been looking at that pretty closely. I did watch a couple of the committee meetings. There's a lot of resistance to both 1242 in the Senate and 991 in the House, which is a good thing. Our folks in Tallahassee, Sarah Powers, who's our legislative person here at the county and also our lobbyist, feel that the bills may go forward because of who's putting them forward, but that they're not well liked. And if they do reach the floor, that it would be with a lot of amendment to them. So far, the news is, somewhat good. It's only been through 1 committee in the House. It is, I believe, going to the Commerce Committee, but they don't have a date to hear it yet. And as you know, the longer that takes, the better for us. It has to go through the 3 committees and then go on the floor in order for it to move forward. So if it's only been through 1 committee and it's not even scheduled for the next one, which is Commerce, and then it would still need to go to Ways and Means. So I'm continually looking to see if they've had any dates set to hear those bills in committee. I didn't see anything today. So as of today, that's where 991 stands. 1242 was passed through Community Affairs. That was its first committee. Judiciary is its second in the Senate. Judiciary got it like the 12th of March, and as of today, which is the 24th, it still has no hearing date in that committee. So that's a good thing, too. Not to say that these things can't move at the speed of light in a week. That can also happen. Session is over May 2nd, so it really would need to, what does that leave us? Another month, another 5 weeks. So it would need to move pretty quickly. I don't know, Frank, what do you think? Like, if it went until the week before, 2 weeks before, then it's kind of dead? Yeah. So we have to look at this for another 3 weeks or so. And if it doesn't move, then we should be good. But nobody's looking at this as being something that's certainly good for us, or that is going to move quickly without amendment. So for us, I've taken the liberty of doing a letter from the CRA board to each of our representatives. That would be Gail Harold, John Snyder, and Toby Overdorf. We are not going to send those letters today. We're going to sign them. I'll read it to you if you like. Bert will be signing. What our lobbyist has told us is that we need to be ready, excuse me, but not to start inundating them, meaning our representatives, with anything at this point, or those committees. They understand a lot better than I think we do how to work Tallahassee. So we're going to follow their instruction and have those things ready. I'm getting that done today because I won't see you all for another month, and that could be too late. If anything needs to be done in between, you will certainly hear from me via phone, not even via email. I will call each and every one of you to let you know what we need to do. Yeah, because time would be of the essence at that point. But along with the letter, I put together a little white paper, if you will, about all of the wonderful things that CRAs do, and then very specific to Martin County projects and the positive impacts that we've experienced here. That's already gone to the lobbyist and to Sarah, so they have that information right now, and we'll attach it to each one of the letters as well. So that's kind of where we are. If you want to follow any of this, you can do that. If you go to redevelopment.net, that is the FRA website, the Florida Redevelopment Association's website, and they have something right on their website. You'll see it right on the first page. It says Redevelopment Works. You click on that, and it will give you letters and, key points and all kinds of information that we may need. And I will certainly let you know if, you guys need to be doing any of that. You can also, like I said, if you wanted to go and just find out what's going on, it's so easy. You can just do House Bill 991. Go right here, and it will give you all of the information. Here you can see where it is. So it was, like I told you, referred to Commerce, but no date. I mean, today's the 24th. It still hasn't had a date. And then here's all of these fun things. So you can go to the Senate bill if you wanted. It would take you right there. And then give you all of what's happened to it. So it kind of follows the whole thing. If you were interested in doing that, it's really easy to find. This is an amazing website. It gives you so much information. I mean, seriously, all I'm saying is be careful, because it is a rabbit hole that I have been down for hours and hours in the past 2 weeks. So just be cautious.
Be careful.
While you're on that page, can you look up Senate Bill 1118? Because I have a question about that.
1118. Yeah, they have a ton of land use stuff this year, too.
And that doesn't necessarily affect CRA, although it could, but
It could.
overall. So have you heard anything about this at all yet?
I haven't. You can see it's the same.
Yeah.
the same guy that's, let's see, where is it? So Community Affairs said yes, that was the first one, so now it's going to go to Regulated Industries. And then rules, so here we go, Community Affairs, so pending pending review. It doesn't look like it's moving very quickly. It does have a couple of amendments. Yeah, so this is all related to land use regulations. And it does provide that the local, basically a lot of these bills, and I think this one would fall into that category, is that it's taking away local rule. So developers and builders would be able to do things without county government, for example, saying, well, you need to go through this process and here's these regulations, and they would be able to do things that are against our zoning code now. Would you say that
Yeah, no, I was
is a
just
fair
curious
assessment?
If it had been brought up to you as a potential issue, okay.
I mean, yeah, you're right, it would affect us, for sure. But there are a lot of these this year, these types of bills. So as you can see, you can,
All in.
right, it begins, right? Anyway, I'm happy to answer any questions if I can on what we're looking at. But I wanted to bring all of you up to date, and I will have letters for you, Bert. I'm happy to read the letter if you want me to.
That's what I was, first I wanted to clarify the website that you first mentioned, Redevelopment.
Redevelopment.net.
Okay. And then that would be great if you could read it. I'd love to hear it.
Sure.
You do such a wonderful job.
I did not author this.
Oh, okay. I can't give you credit then.
No, you can't.
I would say let's
here we go.
investigate McLean.
Dear so-and-so, we are writing to express our strong support for community redevelopment agencies in Florida and to emphasize their invaluable role in improving and revitalizing our communities. As the Martin County CRA Board, we have witnessed firsthand the positive impact that CRAs have on our local economy, quality of life, and overall community well-being. CRAs have been instrumental in transforming blighted areas into thriving hubs of commerce and culture. These agencies focus on improving infrastructure, supporting local businesses, and creating opportunities for affordable housing and economic development. The CRA empowers communities by working collaboratively with local stakeholders, including residents, businesses, and government officials, to address the unique needs of each area. One of the most important aspects of CRAs is their ability to attract private investment, generate jobs, and create lasting economic growth in areas that have historically struggled with disinvestment. By using tax increment financing, CRAs are able to fund infrastructure improvements and community projects without burdening taxpayers. This model has been proven to be effective in revitalizing neighborhoods and improving the quality of life for residents. We believe that continued support and expansion of CRAs in Florida is crucial to ensuring sustainable and equitable growth for our cities and counties. These agencies provide an important tool for local governments to address complex challenges such as affordable housing shortages, economic inequality, and urban sprawl. They foster vibrant communities where people want to live, work, and raise families. We respectfully ask that you continue to support the work of CRAs and explore opportunities to enhance their effectiveness in our region. By doing so, we can ensure that future generations of Floridians benefit from the revitalized communities that CRAs help create. Thank you for your time and consideration. We look forward to your continuing commitment to strengthening our community through these vital redevelopment efforts. And then that would go along, like I said, with the very specific Martin County projects and impacts, so that they can sort of look at their own areas, and that will go to all three.
I think it sounds good.
Yeah.
Any comments?
I would send it, not to wait.
Well, I do need to just make sure that it's okay with the board, first of all, that we did that, and then I'll call the lobbyist again. Yeah. Okay.
Great. Thank you.
I make a motion to move to send it. Why
Okay.
wait? Be persistent, be nagging, nag 'em.
Well, I'm more
You
apt to listen
investigate
to
that
their
guy.
expert opinion than, but that, we'll get it signed and ready to go, for sure.
Okay, great.
And I'll keep you posted. If you don't hear from me, that's good.
Generally, yes.
Yeah, generally, you're right, Mike. Generally, that's a good thing.
Okay, so that was our legislative session section. Next is CRA fiscal year 2024 annual report.
Yes, so now we're going to have some fun. Let me just make sure I told you everything I needed to tell you. Yeah. Okay. So each year, as you know, we bring you our annual report for your approval. The statute says that we have to have it on our website by March 30th each year for the year before, so you'd be looking at the 2024 fiscal year annual report. And we thought we would do something a little bit different this year. So instead of just looking at it or reading it, we're bringing it to you live. So this is going to be the front cover. Let's see if I can make this a little smaller. Okay. So we're live from Martin County. It's fiscal year 2024. And when I say it's live, I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. So first we hear from Rex. He was the chair in 2024, so he gets to say a few things. We look for, of course, our mission, our vision, and these are our values. And we have a few pictures interspersed there. We meet our cast, and that would be, well, we're going to get a new picture here of you guys. This is an old one. And we talk about how you become a CRA, what does all of our pieces do, how does it work, who are the people that are doing it, where we are. And then we start with what I call the CRA pages. So each CRA has a page, and you're looking at what would be a book, right? So one on one side, one on the other. And each one of you has a starring role. So you can see here we start with Sadia, and on all of the pages moving forward, we do have a scan click to hear from this he put on each. To hear from this CRA board member. Do I have anyone that would like to have their live action shown?
For sure, don't show mine.
All right, well then we're going to start with you, Sadia. Ready?
Yeah, drove her crazy, poor girl.
What? Oh, see? Look at that. What? Yeah, she said we have no audio, so it would be no fun. Do I need to do anything here?
NAC member.
Click allow.
Hi, I'm Joy Puerta, the Program Manager for the Office of Community Development. I'm here in the Golden Gate Community Redevelopment Area, a vibrant neighborhood that celebrates its history, diversity, and commitment to being a great place for walking and biking. The area was created in 2002 to invest in projects that enhance the area and improve the quality of life for residents and visitors. spanning 370 acres. It's all about thoughtful development, economic growth, and keeping this community connected and thriving. Right now, the space behind me is underutilized, but soon it will become a safe, accessible, and beautiful pathway for walkers, cyclists, and families to enjoy. It's projects
We have to work on that
help
audio a
shape
little.
the future of the Golden CRA as we continue to grow and evolve with a sunset date set for 2042. Now I'd like to introduce Sadia Saftaridis, a dedicated board member of the Community Redevelopment Agency.
Hi, I'm Sadia Saftaridis. I'm a resident of Golden Gate since 1999. It's been a lots improvement since my stay. I have been member of the CRA since conception. I'm looking forward to 2025 because we have El Camino is going to be the best project ever that we are all excited about. Please go visit all the 6 communities. You know who they are, all the CRAs. And you see the improvement and see how proud we're going to be. Volunteers can do miracles. However, they need #1 staff, meaning the CIA staff. They are the best. I mean, with their accomplishment, their listen, their diligence with everything, and they're good with the money. Believe me, I am so proud of them. Anyway, I invite every one of you to come and visit our communities and see the best improvement you ever could think of. And thank you for listening to me.
Good job.
Job. So each one did a little, anybody else want theirs to be aired today?
Well, since they saw mine, I'd like to see theirs.
Well, okay.
My name is Jana Cox. I'm the program manager for the Office of Community Development. Today we're in the Hobe Sound CRA. The Hobe Sound CRA offers an intimate Main Street and connected neighborhoods with that small town community feel against a backdrop of sweeping banyan trees and beautiful beaches. Being the largest CRA in Martin County, Hobe Sound has a total acreage of 1,024 acres. Hobe Sound CRA was established in the year 2000 and will sunset in the year 2040. I would like to introduce you to our CRA board member and the NAC chair for Hobe Sound, Robert Krebs.
Hi, I'm Bert Krebs, resident of Hobe Sound. Been in Hobe Sound since the 80s, off and on the NAC board since the beginning, but currently back on the NAC in Hobe Sound. I'm also on the Community Redevelopment Agency board and proud to serve. Some of my main reasons are I believe the CRA is an organization that improves the quality of lives of everybody in Martin County, and the projects enhance and preserve and protect all the small towns in Martin County, Hobe Sound being one of those. I think my favorite project in Hobe Sound is the Bridge Road Main Street. The main reason is that the changes were dramatic. Previously, the road was parking was haphazard along the road. The sidewalks were disconnected, and it created a more walkable, livable space for everybody in Hobe Sound. Businesses are thriving there. And, child can go on a bike from US 1 to the elementary school on a sidewalk without having to dodge cars and parking. It's a much improved space, so I think that was a great project for Hobe Sound.
All right.
All right, good job.
I'm going to do Old Palm City because we've gotten to see 2 of our program managers, but we didn't get to see our assistant manager.
Where old Florida charm meets modern day magic. This is Palm City. Hi, my name is Jordan Pastorius, and I'm the Assistant Manager of the Office of Community Development. Picture this, greenways and parks that flow through vibrant neighborhoods, linking a thriving town center with
He's a show-off.
family-owned businesses. an active boat ramp with access to the Atlantic Ocean, and so much more. From scenic views to hometown vibes, Palm City is a place where memories are made and the past meets the future. Please allow me to introduce to you the Old Palm City Neighborhood Advisory Chair, Dr. Rex Santel.
Hello, I'm Rex Santel. I've been in Palm City and Stewart area for 44 years now. I've been on the Old Palm City Neighborhood Advisory Committee since it started in the mid-2000s. And one of our objectives was to develop Map Road, make it nice. And along the way, this park here has been developed thanks to a lot of people on the board and also especially our county commissioner, Campy. Without him, I'm not sure if this would have happened. So this is a great focal point for this community in Old Palm City, and we're very proud of it. Like I said, I've had a business here for 44 years. I also now I'm on the CRA. I've been on it the last few years and was chairman of it last year, which was quite an experience. It's nice seeing all the redevelopment areas in the county and how they're developing. Of course, I think Old Palm City is doing really well on what we've done. We've got more to do. We've got developments coming in now, which is the whole purpose of a redevelopment area, is make it nice so it attracts businesses, and we are doing that now. And I'm very proud of it. Thank you.
Good job, Doc.
So you can see that the CRA pages, each CRA has a page and has a little description, total acreage. Some of the information that you see in the annual report you see each year because it is required by statute to be there. They kind of tell us what they want to see in our report and then let us figure out the rest. So here we have Salerno. Look at those gorgeous pictures. Rio, look at those gorgeous pictures. Let's check out Jamie.
Hi, I'm Joy Puerta, the Program Manager for the Office of Community Development. I'm here at the beautiful fishing paradise in the Port Salerno CRA, an historic village where community identity meets smart economic growth. The CRA covers 860 acres and was created in 2000 with a sunset date through 2040. That means we're investing in the future, making sure the area stays beautiful, businesses grow, and the community continues to be a great place to live, work, and visit. Port Salerno is more than just a place. It's a way of life. Whether you're here for a cup of coffee, a sunset dinner, or just to enjoy the waterfront, you're part of something bigger, a thriving community that's only getting better. The Port Salerno CRA, it's also about revitalizing neighborhoods. Now I'd like to introduce Jamie Roll-Taylor, a dedicated board member of the Community Redevelopment Agency.
Hi, my name is Jamie Roll-Taylor. I was born and raised here in Port Salerno, and I moved back to take care of my parents with my 3 daughters. And when I returned home, I had the opportunity to start coming to a lot of the NAC meetings, or Neighborhood Advisory Committee meetings. And I really enjoyed being able to participate and giving input and receiving feedback. And one day I was asked if I would, be interested in joining the board. So I said, well, sure, I love working and helping the neighborhood. So I applied and I was lucky to be able to be approved. And so I've been with the NAC. I moved back in 2015. So I've been involved with all of the meetings since 2015. So I'm going on 10 years. It's gone by pretty quickly. But I've also now advanced to being part of the CRA board. So currently, I'm the chair for the NAC, and now I'm on the board for the CRA. And it's been really nice to see things evolve over the past 2 years. I've really enjoyed working with the county as well, the staff, being able to give input to our county commissioner as well. And lately, we've actually advanced to being able to see some projects come into fruition. And I'm now standing next to one of my favorite projects. In Monrovia is actually where I grew up. And so it was really nice to see this. So unfortunately, we have a truck driving by, but I'm going to keep going. Another project that we took 4 years to accomplish was a project that's off of A1A, and you'll see it every time you drive by. It's beautiful. It's pelicans that are resting on pedestals. And so I encourage you to go out and really enjoy the waterway there and what Port Salerno offers as our historic district. So thank you so much, and I look forward to continuing providing a service for our community.
Very nice. All right. Last but not least, today we're going to hear from Michael Redling.
Go us.
Hi, I'm Jordan Pastorius, Assistant Manager of the Office of Community Development. I love working with the passionate people of Rio to construct a better place for our tomorrow. Nestled along the picturesque St. Lucie River, Rio isn't just any neighborhood. It's a treasure trove of local history, art, and that classic old Florida charm. With roots dating all the way back to the 1500s, Rio's history comes to life through its rich culture and artistic vibes. It's a place where the past and the present blend together seamlessly. I introduce to you Chair of the Rio Neighborhood Advisory Committee, Mr. Mike Redling, and CRA Member-at-Large, Rich Kennedy.
Hi, my name's Mike Redling. I have been a Rio resident now for 13 years. I've been on the Rio Neighborhood Advisory Committee for about 9 years, and I've been a member of the CRA board for the last 6 years. One of the things I like best about the CRA is having the chance to collaborate, having the chance to put together projects, unique projects throughout the county that wouldn't have gotten done without the community input that we receive through the NACs and through the members of the CRAs that represent all the different parts of the county. Probably my favorite project that we've put together with the CRA is a partnership with Habitat for Humanity called Petway Village, which is going to be an 18-home affordable housing neighborhood in Hope Sound. It's the first affordable housing neighborhood outside of Banner Lake, so it's been a very important first step, and it's been a great asset to the CRA community in Hope Sound, bringing not only 18 new families, but also expanded water and sewer services and some different amenities that did not exist before.
Hi, my name's Rich Kennedy. I've been a member of the Community Redevelopment Board for more than 5 years and less than 10, I guess. I've lost track of when I joined. I've been the at-large member for that period of time. I've been a resident of Martin County for, going on 15 years now. I've lived in Rio for the last 13 of those years and have sat on the Neighborhood Advisory Committee there for just about 10 years. I have enjoyed my time with the Community Redevelopment Board. The employees, the staff are just amazingly committed to the best that our county can be, and I appreciate that mission very much. I will miss being on the board. However, I also take some pride in what we've been able to accomplish in our time here. I think the patio in Palm City is one of the great examples of what we could do together, working with the county and with the community to develop things that help the entire county be a place that people want to be. Thanks.
Nice. So now you've heard from board members, but that's not all. So we're going to we talk a little bit about our current projects, and you can see and hear and experience those, and some of them have their own. So for example, scan or click here to attend the groundbreaking for El Camino, or scan or click here to hear from a Petway Village resident, or scan or click there and find out about
Martin County CRA's
our projects.
vision for Hope Sound includes revitalizing the A1A streetscape from Southeast Bridge Road to Southeast Saturn Street, including Old Post Office Alley and connecting side streets. This transformation will feature improved drainage and stormwater systems, underground utilities, enhanced pedestrian spaces, additional parking, upgraded lighting, and a flexible festival street. A key highlight of the project, the relocation and restoration of the historic Hope Sound train station, will serve as a centerpiece of this placemaking initiative.
Exciting updates are coming to New Monrovia Park. Design and engineering are underway for enhancements. including a new basketball court, accessible pathways, additional benches, land regrading, and shade structures to provide more comfort for visitors. Beyond the park, improvements are also planned for the surrounding neighborhood. Residents can look forward to new sidewalks, traffic calming measures, improved lighting, and repaved roads, enhancing safety and walkability.
With parking a top priority for the community, this project will introduce additional on-street parking to better serve businesses and residents. Improvements include underground utilities, new sidewalks, enhanced lighting and landscaping, creating a complete street that prioritizes pedestrian and vehicular safety, sustainability, walkability, and stronger community connections.
As part of the Old Palm City Community Redevelopment Plan, the Southeast Cornell Avenue improvements will enhance neighborhood streets, sidewalks, and bikeways. Running parallel to Map Road, Southeast Cornell connects Martin Highway and Martin Downs Boulevard, making it a vital route. This project will widen sidewalks for safer pedestrian and cyclist passage while adding street trees for traffic calming and beautification. Dixie Highway bisects the Rio CRA from east to west with residences and businesses on each side. To improve safety and accessibility, 3 new crosswalk connections will be added at key locations, providing safer routes for pedestrians and cyclists to navigate the area. The Rio Community Redevelopment Plan envisions a vibrant, pedestrian-friendly County Route 707. This project will bring that vision to life along Dixie Highway, from the S-curve to Langford Lane, and from Rio Pine Lane to the railroad tracks. New street trees, sidewalks, bike lanes, curbs, and medians will transform the area into a welcoming space for all. The CRA has acquired key properties fronting the Dixie Highway corridor, along with county-owned land to support the continued redevelopment of the town center. A focal point of this project will be the reconstruction of the Rio Civic Center building, a cornerstone of the community, which will complete the town center vision and serve as a central hub for the area.
So I'm not going to go through all of them, but that's just to give you kind of a feel. Those are our current projects. So if you really wanted to know what those projects, where they are, what they might look like, gives you a better image in your head, I think. And you can see that we have this on every page. And again, some of them have their own special, so that you can hear from those special people. We have all of our completed projects. Same thing again. They have, you can see all the sculptures if you click here. You can come to the ribbon cutting at Palm City if you click here. You can look at the video that we did for Ripple and see all of the parcels, et cetera, et cetera. And again, seeing and talking about all of these projects. So I guess you've noticed that our staff also has a starring role. They did a great job. They worked really hard. So thank you to the staff, especially Jordan, who did a lot of the filming, and to Elise, who did a lot of the, pretty much all of the editing. All of our staff they really did an amazing job with this. I would also like to thank communications, because they gave us some of their expertise as well and are always ready to help us out. So now we have a spotlight on our community. We talk a little bit about CARES, about our new Community Pulse program. Here we are in the community doing all kinds of things, and you'll be able to click this ticket to hear from a CARES participant. We really did well with awards this year, so we actually have a whole page just for awards, so you get to see some of that. And this is our CRA businesses, and these are the 2024 investment program projects, so you get to see a before and after, and we do talk a little bit to some of the property owners, so you would get to see those videos. These are fantastic. You should really check those out. And then we have our finance page and a little interview with myself and Mrs. Murley, who was here earlier, talking a little bit about TIF and what that means and how that works. And then the curtain comes down. So whether you are looking at this in a book, you can use your phone to access any of the videos, or you're looking at it digitally, all you have to do is click, as you saw me do, and you can see, feel, and experience our projects. So I hope that you all enjoyed that little, we can watch more if you want, but I know we have another meeting, unfortunately, otherwise I'd say we'll sit through.
I'm not going to get his name.
But if you're all okay with what you're seeing, that would be great. I'm also happy to send this to you because I know you may want to actually read it and have some suggestions. Usually you do get the opportunity to do that, but we ran out of time this month. So I will send this to you all and you'll be able to take a better look. We will have it on the website on March 30th, but we can incorporate any changes that you might want to make or, swap out. I think we have a couple of pictures we need to swap out and make a little more current. And we can do that even after the 30th. That's not an issue. So hope you like what you saw.
Really good.
Yeah?
Really good.
Yeah? It's kind of a fun idea. All right.
Yeah, really good.
And that, I do have some updates. So I'll do that real quick. Palm City property, just wanted to bring you up to date. We did have our bid opening last week. We had one bid, and that was deemed non-responsive by purchasing. So what happens is the bids come in, they announce it, and then those responses go back to purchasing, and they check them to make sure that they have responded to everything that they needed to requirement-wise. So non-responsive means they didn't provide like a substantial part of the required information. We did get some no bid responses, which what that means is that people who looked at it but decided not to bid told us why, which was sort of interesting. One was that they weren't able to meet with the agency, with purchasing or the county, not enough time, et cetera. So it is going to be rebid. We will have a pre-proposal, it's very hard to say, meeting so that potential bidders can come if they want to and ask questions. Purchasing is always available for questions, and proposers generally will email and receive answers during that bid period. So we are going to rebid. We're getting it together right now. We would strongly advise that you don't engage with the proposer at this point. It's not under the cone of silence, but it's just good practice not to do that since we are going to rebid and we're going to do it pretty quickly. If you do have any questions or know a potential proposer and they have questions, please direct them to my office or to purchasing. That would be the best way to go. Port Salerno property, we not the CRA, but the county, namely Commissioner Hurd and Public Works, are buying a piece of property in Port Salerno. That is going to be on the board agenda tomorrow. Just so that you all know, the purchase price is $529,600. And between commissioner funds and stormwater funds, they're going to split that down the middle. That will give us additional, and it's right in the, I bring it up because it's in the Port Salerno CRA, right on Salerno Road. And that's going to give us additional stormwater retention and green space for residents of the Port Salerno community. The structures that are on that property will more than likely be removed pretty quickly. So that's coming up tomorrow. And then our alternative compliance item, again, goes to the LPA on the 17th. It's a Thursday. And then to the BOCC on the 22nd, which is a Tuesday of April. And that is it for today.
Not
It's a
really.
lot.
For this meeting.
We do have a comment section. Any members of the public wish to speak? I don't see anyone. Any Board members have any comments? Yes, ma'am?
This is regarding what you just brought up, the purchase of the property in Port Salerno. So, I'm going to try to keep this plain and simple. I think there's just a lot of frustration. There's a lot of time that we spend on trying to get certain projects done in Port Salerno. Luckily, we have Park Drive finally starting, and that's been in the process for a while. And it's hard to see things moving ahead before projects that we've been working on for so many years to get done. I think probably the most frustrating personally for me is the sewer, and everybody knows that. I think it's most frustrating for me because I literally have a sewer line running through the front of my yard that I never got access to. It supplies a different community. And we are still waiting for sewer to be placed, infrastructure. So it is frustrating and very hard when the community expresses their priorities. And I think that is probably the top of our priority is infrastructure. Safety is always a matter because we're dealing with water quality there. So, totally understand, the county is moving forward. It's not something that, we have decided or has been presented at the NAC. But we've been working quite some time on trying to get New Monrovia Park completed. And there's rumor that possibly this green space could be implemented as a park, which is something that is not in our CRA plan. I'm a little emotional about this, I apologize, but when you go many years not seeing certain communities receiving projects and evolutions to that, it gets a little frustrating. So I'm just hoping that we can move forward with, for instance, New Monrovia Park being completed. We've been at, I think, 60% for a while on just the plans. Okay. So I just wanted to put that on the record. It's not something that I know the community really wanted. And I would like for our priorities to be heard and that we complete some of the projects that we need done in the community before we move forward. And again, I apologize. I am a little emotional about this. But
So
thank you.
Jamie, if I could just make a comment, the park, New Monrovia Park is funded and moving forward.
Yeah, but
So
it's
do
been
not
at
worry about
60%
that.
for a while.
Well, that's just the process. That doesn't mean that it isn't going to get constructed. So I just wanted you not to feel, just to feel a little more positive about that. Our projects will not be impacted by that property being purchased. And it's actually a positive thing when you look into the future. It's a positive thing for us for the county to have that property for stormwater. I know that
Oh,
you
that I totally
visited-
understand.
I know that you've visited Ripple and you liked
Oh,
what
I
you
love
saw.
Ripple.
So that's where, I think that's what we need to put in our heads.
I understand that, but
Yeah.
you understand the frustration.
Yeah, no, I
I
get
mean, we
that.
have an upland facility that popped up in no time, and we're still waiting on these other projects to be completed,
Well,
that's-
one is CRA, one is county, and as much as they're the same, they're different,
I know, but what I'm
Yeah.
saying is we put a lot of focus in on county projects, and then sometimes they just there's ways of going about it. There's just that frustration. And just imagine if you had a sewer line running through your front yard, and you can't tap into it. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am?
I just want to say thank you to the staff, especially that gorgeous woman sitting there.
I was going to look behind me, but I
Well, if you look,
wasn't sure how that was working.
come on, get off of it.
You are welcome.
No, seriously, being in this board for over 25 years, and my partner sitting over there listening, we worked so hard. We took a lot of like from people, from everything, and see the improvement and see the, for example, I mean, Golden Gate, my husband and I, we renovated a couple houses and we put them up for sale, and I said, oh, I'm going to do it myself. And the first call got, I don't want to live in the Golden Gate. Now they wish they could. That tell you the improvement.
Well, thank you, Sadia. I appreciate
No,
that.
seriously,
I could not have done any of it without.
Yeah, I know. I'm talking about every one of you.
Yep.
Especially that good-looking guy over there. Putting up with, like my son said, I live with the women. Anyway, thank you. I just want to say,
Appreciate that.
personally, thank you.
Any
And I'm
other-
happy.
Any other member comments?
I'd just like to make a comment. It's a shame that the state is coming in and trying to control local rules when local rules are really know what the local community wants instead of the state. So
Yeah.
it's a shame for developers' sake. I wonder where the money's going.
Yeah. Anyone else? Okay. Staff reports? Any other comments from the staff? Okay. Let's
I've said
adjourn.
enough.